Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Robin McLaughlin and I am the Associate Alumni Director here at Northwood. Thank you for joining us today for our January Alumni Webinar with alumnus Kimberly Olson, who will be presenting on how to monetize your idea through a personal brand. If you have any questions during today's webinar, please use the Q&A feature to submit them. We'll have some time at the end of the presentation to answer those. Kimberly is a 2002 Northwood graduate, and she's also a self-made multimillionaire and the creator of the Gold Digger Girl, where she serves female entrepreneurs by teaching them simple systems and online strategies in sales and marketing. Kimberly is also a #1 best-selling author, a social media expert, hosts a top 25 marketing podcast, a TEDx Talk speaker. She was also recently named a top CEO of 2022 by the International Association of Top Professionals. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. So I am really beyond thrilled and honored to be here. And I am so grateful to Northwood University for asking me to come. It just really fills my heart to be representing this amazing school. And ever since I was a little girl, I always saw myself as an entrepreneur. I remember being, 10 years old, staying with those tall towers, with mirrored side, you could see all the mirrored walls, thinking, I'm going to have my own business one day. And so being able to go to Northwood University to fulfill that dream, to learn business, to learn marketing, all the things, is really was the pivotal determining factor for the rest of my career. So I'd love to introduce myself, tell you a little bit about me and why you want to hear this content today. I'm used to teaching live, so I would love a little interaction if you guys are down for that. So in the chat feature, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. And what we're going to talk about today, I want to know what has you curious about this or why you're tuning in to watch this or on replay. So today we're talking about how to monetize your idea through a personal brand, okay? So when you think about monetizing your idea through a personal brand, what you want to be thinking about is, what is it that you want to do for this personal brand? So, okay, Marla, thank you for commenting, Marla. So I want to know where you're tuning in from. Where are you at when it comes to a business idea? Are you an entrepreneur as well? Maybe you're a consultant. Maybe you have more of an entrepreneur role in a company. So you can actually be an entrepreneur in a company where you run your own book of business. So I did sales for a really long time. I was running my own book of business. I was managing my revenue, my income. So you could even do this in a role within a company. Or maybe you're thinking about a side hustle. Maybe you've had a dream to, go ahead and sell that beef jerky at farmers markets that you love, or maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I've got this idea for a brewery, like maybe I could make something of it. So it could even be, a side hustle. It could be a pie in the sky dream. It could be a what if, where you're like, what if? Or you taking skill sets that you have now and looking at how you can actually monetize them. So if you're willing to share, because there is some vulnerability to that, 100%, right? There's this vulnerability to even wish for something like that, or we tell ourselves, you're not good enough, or, why me? Or we should be happy with what we have now, right? So it's just, let's just have a little fun with it. There's no expectations. I just want to share with you what my experience has been and what I've seen working with me. I do want to share my failures because I have achieved, I'm a very achievement-oriented person. I've had quote-unquote success. But I do want to share with you my very first brand that I launched was called FitKim, F-I-T-K-I-M. After Northwood, I went on to get PhDs in natural health and holistic nutrition. I spent over a decade traveling all across North America, public speaking, going on TV, teaching people how to be healthy, really just learning how to get closer to whole plant-based food. In that time, a brand called FitKim. And FitKim was all about YouTube videos. I had a blog, and this was in 2011. So social media wasn't what it is today. I love seeing everyone tuning in. I'm actually in Austin, Texas, so it's nice to see so much representation from the northern states, which is awesome. So I started this brand FitKim. I was using my blog and YouTube channel. And you know what? Literally thought it was going to build this thing out. I was going to quit my job. I was going to walk away from corporate because, as I said, we had this dream to be an entrepreneur. I just knew it in my soul that really what I wanted to do was to have my own thing. And so when I launched FitKim, we had a little bit of success. I made some money here and there from YouTube ads. I had a few clients here and there, but it was not ever enough money to quit my job. And I'll never forget, we lived in Houston for a little bit, and my husband got a job in Austin, and I knew I was going to have to leave where I was working at. I was working at a huge recreation complex, and I'll never forget thinking, okay, I'm going to put my notice in, I'm going to make this FitKim thing live, and I'm never going to print off another. Well, we ended up printing off one, not two, but three more resumes for future transitions in my career. So if you've tried before and you've failed and it hasn't worked out, it doesn't mean that you let that dream go. Because the thing with having this desire to create something else, it will not quit. It will just gnaw at you, right? That there is a little bit more for you, whether it is just an additional stream of income. There's a lot of different ways that you can build this. So with FitKim, we moved to Austin, Texas. Again, tried to go all in with it, and it failed miserably. Launched products, and my aunt-in-law would buy it, and that would be it. $50 sale. You can't really quit your job making $50, just a $50 sale, right? So tried at it, going into coaching programs. I went to conferences. It was so coachable. I implemented, and it wasn't happening. 10 years later, a failure. Okay, it's like the little engine that could not. It just was not happening for me. Any of you relate to this? Where you go for something for so long and you just believe in it and you just don't want to let it go. And I didn't want to let it go. So that time, I became pregnant with my first child. I have two daughters, and they are a year and a half apart. So had the first baby, and then boom, had another baby. So I put that dream on the shelf. I just said, you know what, I'm in motherhood right now with postpartum depression. So I was just really immersed in this space where it was all about, these new babies in my life. And so I put that on the shelf. And when I kind of came to, right, I came back to sleeping 8 hours a night and being a whole person again, that calling was there again, but that gnawing was more for me. And I was so sick and tired of dropping them off first at daycare in the morning at 7 a.m. and fighting traffic for an hour and a half to pick them up before the doors close and getting 45 minutes a day with them before it was time to start the bedtime routine. I was really getting frustrated by that. And also, I'll be very transparent because I believe in sharing my story. Also struggled with alcohol abuse. So it runs in my family. It's been an issue. I grew up around that. And I found it to be a coping mechanism, glass of wine after work to take the edge off, right? And then another glass. And what happened is between motherhood and having this desire for more and being in a job I hated, I was in a really, really dark place. And it was in that darkness that I realized this is not the way I wanted to live my life. This was not the mom I wanted to be. This was not the wife I wanted to be. And I knew there was more inside of me. Like, I knew I could help people and make a difference. It wasn't living out every day. There was this huge conflict in my life every day. It was like a tormented mind. So in 2017, a friend introduced me to network marketing, and I was very against it. Going to Northwood. Northwood's more traditional, right? Like you might go and have build out, you might have your own dealership. You might have your own agency. You might, your own company. There wasn't anything about marketing direct sales. Honestly, was very resistant to it. And my friend kept following up, telling me all about her success. And I thought, you know what have I got to lose? We racked up tons of debt. We were living paycheck to paycheck. I had to change something. So I gave it a go. I had a little initial success, and then my paycheck was $200. Okay, I am not going to go crush it with a $200 paycheck. I knew in that moment it was time to overcome the destructive behavior in my life. So I enlisted professional support to find out why I had this coping mechanism of, having that glass of wine, and we dug in, and I started realizing that there was rooted issues there that I had to overcome. And I worked with a professional. I was able to kind of rewire how I saw myself. myself in the world, but what I see of myself. At the end of the day, it comes down to how you see yourself. What's your self-image look like, your self-esteem, your confidence? When I did that work, I was able to walk away from that addiction. I'm celebrating 5.5 years of sobriety. What happened was when I removed something that was so toxic in my life, it allowed me to really see, like, what are my, God-given talents? What is it in me that I have to share with the world? And so in the fall of 2017, I got on social media for the first time ever. Didn't have an Instagram account. I did have a Facebook account with like 200 friends. And I got into a coaching program to learn social media. And I started learning about value and building an audience and, serving others, not selling, not spamming, not the stuff that was already circulating around social media. I was doing it different. People started asking me, can you teach me to do what you're doing? And I was like, oh yeah, I just watched a video last week and I just implemented it. And they said, well, we want you to teach us. And we love the way you make things so simple and it's so easy. They're so relatable. So I started just doing little workshops and, I charged $15, $20. And it started growing and growing and growing. So in the spring of 2018, I launched what is now called Gold Digger Girl Co. And since that time, so we're coming up on, coming up on 5 years actually of launching the company. We've been able to grow it and we're plus the $7 million mark in revenue. And in that time, we've had thousands of entrepreneurs go through our programs. And I've also launched many sub-brands during that time. So I have an influencer program, which is all about affiliate marketing. We have a virtual assistant community where we teach people how to be virtual assistants to others. We have an entire swag shop. I have 6 books I've written published. I get paid to speak. We have a nonprofit called Elephant Sisters where we support women in our community and their families. So I've had a lot of experience of launching a brand, launching other brands since that time. Now what I do is I actually specialize in working with beginner entrepreneurs. So that entrepreneur who wants to build out that brand in social media. So if it's anything to do with online marketing, anything to do with social media, even a brick and mortar, what's that online presence look like? And that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. I've got 7 secrets for you, 7 solid strategies that you can implement if you want to monetize your personal brand. You've got this idea and you're thinking, how do I actually take that idea? Or how do I bring it to fruition? Okay, so I'd love to share in the chat, I'd love for y'all to share in the chat a little bit about what you do now. So are you working on maybe you're in the HR role for a financial company. Maybe you run your own business. Maybe you're kiddos. Share in the comments with me what you do now. Like, what's your main profession right now? Your main career. I'd love to get a little bit of context of where y'all are right now in your lives and what you're doing. I like the interaction. So go ahead and share in the comments for me. Tell me a little bit about where you're at right now as well. Okay, so I've got 7 strategies for you. Number 1 is I want you to think about picking something you're passionate about, not a shiny object, okay? So I want you to pick something you are passionate about, but not a shiny object. So what I've noticed is that when people see online opportunities, they'll see something that, let me give you an example. Well, if you can go ahead and buy other people's products and do like a licensed resell, and you can set up an Amazon shop, you can sell people's, cat sweaters and be a millionaire. So we're like, oh, it's so easy, it's automated. This is going to just be cash cow. Okay, so if you feel a little bit, like, you see some shiny objects like that, and it's like looks too good to be true, it probably is. And that's actually not what I want you to be thinking about, okay? I want to see what you guys do. Now, okay, sales and marketing, awesome, Brenda. I love language. Look at you. The average millionaire has 7 streams of income. So if you've got your full-time job and then you have other streams of income going, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income, and only 3% of millionaires inherit their money. So 97%, at least here in the United States, they're self-made millionaires. They're building out, and I think it's like 40% comes from real estate. So having multiple streams of income is where it's at. So I love seeing that you guys have such a diverse background and variety, and not surprised. And you're, oh, I love that, passionate with working with veterans. It's fabulous. And this is so great. Oh, and you have your own business and you sold it. Yeah, that's another thing to think about right now. With the way that the economy is in the market, this is also a great opportunity to buy businesses. So if people are, you can right now, in my educated opinion, you can get a really great deal if you want to look at buying something that has that more passive income to add another stream of income. I have my friend she does storage units, and she has a multi-million-dollar portfolio. She buys storage units. It's a whole thing. It's amazing. Okay, so back to the topic in here. Number one is you're going to pick something you're passionate about. This is what I like to help people, clients that I work with, to envision so you can understand what I'm talking about. So let's say today, the end of this webinar, I've said to you, I am hosting a conference, which I just did my first conference in the fall. And I'm going to have hundreds of people at this conference. And in the audience is going to be the perfect person that you want. It's just full. So let's say you were somebody who you have your wedding venue business and side business, Katie, for example. Okay. Or you want to do wedding consulting. So you want to do more of the consulting with somebody's wedding. And the audience for Katie is all soon-to-be brides, right? Women who are close to that, right? The whole audience is full of her ideal avatar is what it's called. But think of the person you want to work with. The whole audience is full of that. They're there. They've got pen and paper. They're on the edge of their seats. And then you're on stage and they say, Katie, you've got a 3-hour slot. But you've got a 3-hour slot. Danielle, you've got a 3-hour slot. And you get to stand up on stage. You get to teach something, share, and inspire, and motivate, whatever that looks like for you, for 3 hours. But you're not selling anything, just offering value. You're serving, right? What would your topic be? That is probably not selling cat sweaters on Amazon. Maybe. Could be wrong, okay? So what would that be? What would you be so passionate about? You would just be in your zone, right? You're there for 3 hours. The time flies by. You can just tell the audience is like so pulled into what you're teaching that you're living out your purpose. Not even selling anything. What would that be? And when you can get clear on that, then you can actually start to get closer to picking something that you're passionate about. If you know what you would do, put it in the comments. It's that dream a little bit. It's a safe space. Like, share with us. What would you teach on for 3 hours? If I said, hey, you're up. You've got 3 hours to teach to these people in the audience. They're so excited to learn. What would you teach on? Okay. But then the comments, if you're willing to share. This is what I would teach on if you have figured that out. Number two. I learned this from Dave Ramsey. We were able to get out of that debt very quickly. We accumulated by adding my side businesses before I quit my job, and following actually Dave Ramsey's plan. He has something called baby steps. So I'm a huge advocate of his principles. I learned this from him. Number two, test out your idea. Test your idea. The reason why you want to test out your idea, thank you for sharing that, Danielle. I appreciate you. Test out your idea. You want to micro test your idea instead of quitting your job or testing your life savings. Now, if you've already done that, you quit your job and you're going all in, it works. When you cut off all options, that's what the root of the word decide is. It means cut off. Decide is to cut off all options. When you quit your job and you go all in, you have decided you're going to make it. Okay, so if you've already done that, it's okay. Shame in that. Very brave. It's very bold. So if you've quit your job, have cashed in your life savings to go and do the thing, good. Okay, you know what's best for you. But if you're wondering, like somebody who teaches, helping entrepreneurs get going, what do I recommend? So I actually recommend that you micro test your idea first. So if you're thinking, I want to create an app where moms can connect with each other, and obviously I'm a mom, so I talk a lot about women and moms. These ideas go for everyone. So if you're thinking about making an app where moms can connect, and so that they can meet other moms, especially if they don't know people in the area, and a way for them to maybe do play dates, and you're like, I got this great idea, which is a true idea. My friend she's a serial entrepreneur. She creates and sells her. This is her app idea. You're thinking, I'm just going to spend, $100,000. I'm going to have this app developed. I'm going to cash in my life savings, and this is it. This is the $1 million idea here. We don't know that. We don't know if your app takes off. We don't know if people actually use an app. As a mom, I don't know if I would use an app to meet other moms. We don't know that. So how can you micro-test your idea? Could you go through meetup.com? Could you create some Facebook events? Could you maybe start a mom's club in your area locally through social media and test it out to see, is this how moms want to meet each other? You can test that idea out. You can create proof of need in the market. It's called the gap in the market, but you can create a proof of need in the market. You need to prove that there's a need for what you have. We'll talk about needs versus wants next. And we need to prove it first. Okay, we need proof of concept, basically. Okay. So some of the ideas we all put in the comments: gardening, planning, and execution. So if Danielle's thinking, okay, how can I monetize my gardening idea? But maybe her idea is that she thinks she's going to have classes, and people are going to pay $25 to come to her gardening class. She's going to give them, different, every session, every workshop's different. We're going to pay the fee to come for it. She's planning on having, 20 people at each one. She's going to make $500 for the gardening workshop, and she's going to have 2 a week, so it's $1,000 a week. That's $52,000 a year from her workshops. Before she goes all in with that, she's going to test it out and host one. Do people come? Do you know how to market it? Is $25 a good price point? Like, she can test that out, okay? So sometimes when people think about, I'm going to inspire people, I'm going to change people's lives, it's too broad and vague. We need to actually find something tangible that we can market. Okay. This is great in the comments. I love seeing that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to test out our idea first. Does that sound good? Number 3, we're going to figure out what the market wants. We're going to figure out what the market wants. So the key here is we want to think about what the market wants, not what we think they need. Not what we think they need. And I had FitCam, that brand first. I created things based off what I thought people needed. I need this amazing 21 Days to a New You audio program. It was incredible. Graphic for each one in the back office that you could log into, and I had an audio. And this is before podcasting, so they couldn't even listen, This is so long ago. And I made 21 days and recorded the audios. Excuse me. And I was so excited. I had put so much work into it. My, blood, sweat, and tears. Do you want to know how many of those I sold? 1. And it was to my Aunt Mary Jo. Shout out to Aunt Mary Jo. She's in Michigan. Mary Jo, you're amazing. All my stuff, no matter what it is. She's like, so that was a big disconnect between what the market needed or what the market wanted. You might think, man, I got this amazing, product that could help people lose weight. Everybody needs this. People don't need it unless they think they want it. They think, I want to lose weight, right? So we can't push our ideas on other people. They have to want it. So learning how to hit, buying triggers, emotionally connecting with your potential clients is key with your marketing message and things like that. You can speak to them, pull them in. Yeah. I definitely recommend really diving in, doing a poll, doing an assessment, asking people, maybe if you think, for her with Danielle with gardening, she might call up a few friends that garden or want to be gardeners like me. I'm a basic gardener, Danielle. And she might say to some people she knows, hey, can I call you and just pick your brain on something I want to do and just get your feedback in 10 minutes? She could book a few calls and interview people that she knows that would be potential clients or perfect for her gardening workshops. And she could find out from them, would you come to a workshop? Would you be willing to pay for it? What kind of workshops what would you want to learn when it comes to gardening? What are your biggest frustrations when it comes to gardening? What are your biggest challenges? And then she's going to get some intel from that. So you can actually do some pre-work here, interviewing polls and things like that to find out what the market needs. And if you're on social media, are you on social media? If you are, let me know what platforms you're usually on. On all of them, because I kind of my jam. If you are on social media though, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know where you're at. Okay. So we're going to figure out what the market wants and not what the market needs. Number 4, be clear on who you're serving. You're going to speak to that person. You're going to be clear on who you're serving, and you're going to speak to that person. What do I mean by that? With your copy and your content, your emails, your website, a landing page, and you can hire people to do this if it's not restrained. What you want to think about is you want to think about with person that you want to work with, who is that person? One of the tricky parts about doing this is that we often create things or have something that's for everyone, right? Well, we want to help everyone. Think about it. I work with entrepreneurs, so that's everybody, teens, there's teen entrepreneurs, there's some things, there's millennials, there's, baby boomers, there's, I'm at the weird fine line of oldest millennial out there is the men. There's huge range. And then there's women, there's empty nesters, there's moms out. Like there's a lot of people out there who want to say yes. It's super common. If I talk to everybody, then I'm talking to no one. When people read your message, if you post on Instagram or they're reading your email, this is key. They need to feel like you're talking to them. And if I'm on camera right now and I'm going live, so if you do a video, I'm thinking about you on the other side of this camera, thinking about where you're at right now. That's why I wanted to see where you were at in the corporate space, your careers, what you were doing. I'm talking to you. Do you not feel that, right? You feel that connection? Like, oh my gosh, it's like she knows my brain, right? Or she knows what's on my heart, or oh wow, the struggles that I have when it comes to launching something. So when you're writing words for a caption or a post description, or you're writing an email, or you have a website, landing page, all of that those words are so powerful. You make a TikTok, right? So it's a little different with the short form video like that. That's real quick, but you can still be talking to your ideal avatar. Who do you want to work with? So do the work to sit down and say, who do I want to work with? Not who needs what you have. Who do you want to work with? Think lofty as far as like who would you love to work with? Who would light you up? Who is just a perfect person for you in your mind? And get clear on that. And when you do that and you start writing that way, so instead of saying, let's say it looks like a lot of you are on Instagram, pretty consistently all Instagram. Okay, great. So every single one of you that commented said Instagram, and then we have the sewing community. So Instagram. So when you write on Instagram, I want to encourage you to do, instead of putting a picture of you and your steps on vacation and you're like, I call that the hashtag blessed post. Instead, I want you to say, please snuck away and got a vacation with the hubby. We had the best time. Where's the next trip that you're going to? Or if you could plan a trip right now, you could find a beach right now. Where would you go and why? Share a little bit, and then we're going to ask them a question. We're going to find out where they want to go for their vacation. Where have they been? Where are they hoping to go? When you do this, you're actually writing that copy for them. You're writing that post for them. Read it, and then they can engage. They can comment. They can interact. Getting people to comment, things like that is a skill, and it starts with the way you're writing that post. Okay, so be clear on who you're serving. Don't feel like it's everyone. Niche that down a little bit, and then when you're writing anything or talking, be thinking about that person reading it or thinking about them watching you on video. Okay, is this helpful? Let me know if this is making sense. Number 5, provide a ton of free value. Provide a ton of free value. So I'm actually working on LinkedIn right now. So I like to pick different platforms. I just was working on my TikTok and got to 26 weeks or whatever. So I like to pick up the platform and really dig in and work on growing it and having a social presence there, because that's what I do, right? I specialize in social media. You need to be present. So I have, I think, 5,000 or 6,000 followers on LinkedIn. So I'm working on LinkedIn right now. Also, I love it. I think it's a beautiful platform. I'd love to connect with you guys over there. Feel free to look me up. And what I noticed, I started scrolling because I want to get the lay of the land and I want to interact with other people's content. Just go and post. I want to see what is being posted and how I can engage. So Katie, if you post on LinkedIn and you said, hey, I'm thinking about the new year. I don't want to do a New Year's resolution again. I really want to choose goals that I can stick with. What's your biggest advice? So Katie posted that on LinkedIn. I would absolutely comment on that. But I noticed though, when I was scrolling, almost every single post was a pitch. In my masterclass, join my webinar, get in my program. I'm amazing. I help clients and I can help you too. I mean, every post had a link and I have things I promote as well. Get it? And when we can shift to serving and not selling, we sell more. I'm proof of that. Okay. I'm absolutely proof of that. We put out so much content. We offer so much value. The amount of free content that we put out is crazy. Multiple times a month, we're offering free workshops and webinars and different things for our company. 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, what you put out into the world, serving, mentorship, advice, tips, all the things, you're still showcasing your expertise. Think about this webinar. I'm not selling anything to you, but I'm getting some time with you to offer value, serve this audience. And what will happen is, and is happening, is you're seeing me, excuse me, I've been talking a lot this week. You're seeing me as somebody who is an expert or has authority in this topic, right? You can do the same thing. So if you do have a side hustle that you want to start, or maybe you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur full time, the wedding planning is such a great example because we can all relate to that. Instead of saying on every post, hey, do you know any brides to be? I'm a wedding consultant. Hey, some openings for wedding consulting. Hey, want to hire me? She can give tips for, here's 5 things to look for when you book your rehearsal dinner. There's 10 honeymoon spots on a budget. There's a checklist of what you need to be thinking about 6 months before the wedding. When she starts putting stuff out there, people see her as an authority in the wedding space. As soon as they need a wedding planner or wedding consultant, she's going to be tagged, she's going to be referred, and she's going to be hired. You guys see how that works? And you know what's so fun about it? We don't really like selling, right? I've been in sales my whole life. It's relationship building. It's exchange of value. Like, I don't see it as like selling or closing anybody. And work with people who entrepreneurs, and they don't like the selling part. They're like, that's the part I don't like. When we shift our perspective on it and see it as just serving, when that person's ready and you're there, you're top of mind, it's going to be so easy. So, okay. What we're doing by providing a ton of free value is we're building up our know, like, and trust factor. I'm sure you've all heard this before. We're building up your know, like, and trust factor. When people first meet you online, through your website, in an in-person event, they don't know you yet, right? They're starting to get to know you. They're deciding if they trust you. Do they feel safe with you? Do they want to do business with you? So the more value you can put out there, you're building up your know, like, and trust factor on autopilot. And people do business with those that they trust and they like and they know. So if you want to increase your sales, and even in the corporate space, keep that in. Number 6 is have a place to contain your potential clients. So having a place to contain your potential clients is really important. What I recommend is, if you are on social media, and a lot of you put Instagram, I actually prefer Facebook for this. So I utilize Facebook groups. I've got 2 groups that have 50-some thousand people in them. So I'm a huge advocate of Facebook groups. So what's nice about online with a Facebook group is that in that group, you can create community, okay? The other thing is you have all of your potential leads or potential clients in one place. It's a container. If you're on Instagram, you could have a separate account that's where you have to recruit people to come in, and you can create a community right on Instagram if you wanted to. I've also seen people utilize Telegram, Discord to do chats. You can create a chat, and Facebook, you can get a good amount of people in that chat. Instagram's a little bit limited, but having some kind of container is important. The other most common way to create a list of your potential clients is an email list. And we have to remember with Instagram and TikTok and all the things is we don't own those platforms. It wants to be deactivated at any time. So it is smart to have an email list, and you can also be building your social channels too. But having an email list, typically you're going to have something of free value that people can put their name and email at. And when you do that, you're going to capture their email and you can market to them. You can offer value via email and promote things that you're selling. Texting lists are newer, but they are amazing. So open rates for email lists of 20%, ours is higher than that. It's 99%. Everybody opens their text messages, don't they? So we also do that as well. And so you might go, I don't want to do email. Maybe the future is text messaging. Yeah, you can have people text a word to a number, not your cell phone, by the way, it's its own service. And then you can automatically market to them and offer value that way. So have a place to contain your potential clients. Because if you're on Instagram and you're posting and you're doing things, you don't know where your leads are. So you want to market to them and for something, or invite them to something you're doing. How are you going to get in front of them? Yeah, there's just too many people on Instagram to stand up for that. If you have a contained list, you can target them. And you can go right to that list. Number 7, never quit on a bad day. Never, ever, ever quit on a bad day. Ups and downs are part of this. I can't even tell you, when I took a conference on last year, it was a multiple 6-figure investment. I wanted to quit, I wanted to run, and I was in my pantry one day just in the corner crying, going, did I agree to do this? I want to leave and run away and go to the beach. And I pushed through. Obviously, I overcame that, and the conference was transformative. It changed people's lives. It was highlighted my career of anything I've ever done. And why I think most businesses fail is because people quit. Think that the business wasn't going to work. I think that even with FitCamp, I could have pivoted that. I could have done health coaching, right? I could have done health coaching on social media. I do business coaching. I could basically take what I'm teaching you and transform this model, right? I could have made FitCamp successful. I quit, right? I said, I want to do that. Then I went into something else. And that's okay too. When I work with new entrepreneurs, they come to me with a blank slate. They don't know what they want to do. We come up with something, and on average, they pivot 3 times in 1 year. It's the second or third pivot. This client I just started working with, she's just coming up on her first year. She was making 6 figures in the corporate space, and on maternity leave launched her business. Walked away from corporate. He is on track to do $500,000 this year. She's a new entrepreneur. I mean, it's really profound. If you can come with an open mind to go, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right. You don't have to have it just awesome. There's going to be ups and downs though. You need a support system. You need people telling you, you've got this, do this, don't quit. So with that being said, it's always mindset before mechanics. We think we need to know the latest Reels trends, right? Like, how do we get our Reels to go viral? Or how do we get, people to sign up for our newsletter? It's always mindset before mechanics. Working on your mindset is the most valuable thing that you can do. As I shared with my story, pivotal moment for me was when I overcame my mindset, those limiting beliefs and negative thoughts. And I did that work, doors open, sky's the limit, right? And now I've built up my self-esteem, how I see myself so strongly that I've had lots of big obstacles come my way running this company, and I know I'll get through that. Like, I know it, and that's different. So working on your mindset before the mechanics is so important. So having ways to do that. And with that, I also recommend plugging into a community like this one. This is fabulous. Plugging into a community, getting a coach, getting guidance, being with like-minded people who get what you're working towards and what you're doing. Because if you go it alone, you're going to talk yourself out of it. You're going to dip yourself. You're going to be explosive. Like, why are you always on your phone? That was me a few years ago. My husband was like, why are you always on your phone? A little bit more time. This is taking off. And so it helps you get through those times as well, okay? Those are the 7 that I have for you. Something you're passionate. Number 2, test out your idea. Number 3, figure out what the market wants. Number 4, be clear on who you're serving and speak to that person. Number 5, get a ton of free value. 6 is have a place to continue your potential clients. And 7 is never quit on a bad day. And that's what I have for you. So I think we are transitioning, Robin, to Q&A.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. That was great. I was taking notes frantically during it too. And I love the comments everyone has put in. If you guys have any specific questions for Kimberly, feel free to either use the chat or the Q&A feature, and we'll get to those.
Great. Yeah, I'd love to know if you guys are trying to get something off the ground, or like you've tried that, or maybe anything with social media. Feel free to ask away.
I have like a kind of random question, but like, what do you see as like the future of social media, like the different channels and like?
Well, Gary Vee conversation. I do stuff I haven't seen what he's said lately. So this is what I believe. I watch people, and I truly believe our attention span is going to get more limited. So when I first started going live years ago, I'd have people on a 25-minute Facebook Live the whole time. On down that. So I started doing 10 minutes for my trainings. Now we know with Reels and TikToks and things like that, average person, we've got about seconds. And so I think within the next years, I think it's going to drop down to 3 seconds. So what I mean by that is think of ways that you can really quickly, very briefly communicate and help people. So when you remember, I don't know if you ever watched Dr. Hazard, because even on at the end of this, before a commercial break, he would say, now after the break, make sure you come back because I'm going to give you 3 superfoods that's going to add 20 years to your life. And you're like, well, I must know. And you would come back, right? That's a hook. It's just a really quick little blur. So I think video is going to take over completely. I mean, Instagram's already said that they want to have reels and things like that in the grid or through the feed. Facebook also has integrated reels right into the feed as well. The TikTok, we've seen that. So I think video for sure. And if you're not comfortable in front of the camera or you're studying, you can also use images and things like that and illustrate words. You can do voiceover. But part of it is just being vulnerable enough to give it a go and get better and better and better until you get used to it. But video for sure, maybe the future, it just feels like quick, some bites.
And Katie asked a question. Do you think by writing the books give you more ability to have people feel that you are like the expert in the field? Do you recommend trying to write a book?
Yes. So the cool thing is that books don't make you a lot of money. So that's not really cool. Books don't make you a lot of money unless, like, even I've had 3 of the 6 I've written hit #1 on multiple categories internationally. That's awesome, right? And I didn't make a lot of money from them. You just don't. If you go and do speaking events and things like that, you can sell, but you're not going to necessarily put your job in being written. Some people do. But what's so helpful about writing a book is one, it does build up authority because you've written a book. So it gives people a tangible tool that you can get in their hands. So if someone can't afford to coach with you or consult with you or come and see you in person, that book, and I don't know about you guys, but I read a book a week still. I've been an avid reader my whole life. They like saved my life. When I was a teenager, books were everything. So think about what a book can do for people. I also, I did a book writing workshop a couple of years ago to show people kind of the process for it. So if you've tried to write the book, because the word trying it's tricky. If you try to write a book, you guys, and you're just like, I keep putting it off because there's no deadline. There's ghostwriters, there's people who do that for a living. Hire someone to help you, give you some deadlines and guide you with that. No, but I can't even tell you how difficult it is to write a book. The accomplishment you get from doing it's crazy. You have it in your hand. You like, oh, I did this.
All right. Any other questions? We'll give it maybe a couple more minutes. If any more. Thank you again, Kimberly, so much. This will be recorded. We are recording it. So if you want to come back and take notes, we'll send the link out to everyone so you can come back and share that. And we are planning, we'll have our next monthly webinar in February and news for who the speaker will be coming out very soon as well. It looks like we don't have any. Oh, one more. They're an incoming freshman. Oh, awesome. She is going to be majoring in communications and wanting to know what advice do you have as she starts off her career and coming to Northwood.
Okay, you're gonna love it. It's fabulous. I forgot to tell you, Robin, I came back on campus 2014. I was super pregnant with that. I spoke to the Greek community there. It was so cool coming back. It's just this campus, you guys. Anyways, so I'm just so happy for you. What's really cool is that what I've noticed between Northwood and my peers in other colleges and universities, and if you all didn't go to Northwood, that's okay too, but it's because it's real life teaching. What I noticed is I was able to take that and go make my thing from it. So just remember, you're learning tools and principles, but it's the implementation, it's the doing, it's you getting out there. Getting communications, anything with computer tech, all of that, huge. Even psychology, if you can translate it to consulting, coaching, things like that. Some of those broader, it feels like, it's a broader category. Business management, I did marketing and business management. Because then you can go and do whatever you. So yeah, I think that's.
Maria asked a great one. How can they stay in touch with you?
So I'm on all platforms, as I mentioned, and my username, or what I'm known for, is the Goal Digger Girl, and it's GOAL. Sometimes people get it wrong, so it's the Goal Digger Girl. And it looks like a lot of you are on Instagram. If you want to shoot me a DM and just say, hey, I saw your presentation, I'd love to connect with you. And Katie wants to know what platform do I think is best? That's a good question. So think about where the people you want to work with, where are they? And make sure it's something that you enjoy. So if you find yourself you can't stand TikTok, you're like, it's a bunch of teenagers dancing, which is not, but you feel that way, then don't go there. You just energetically don't love it. So think about what you enjoy, where you naturally go, and where is your ideal avatar. And if they're everywhere, then just choose which platform you like. I do recommend working on one platform at a time. Don't try to be all over social media and have a website and launching and a new brand. Like, growth, one thing at a time for sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. We love that, Kelly.
Awesome. And we can, if it's okay with you, Kimberly, we can also share your platforms as well in the follow-up email when we send the link.
Thank you.
All in one place.
Okay, that sounds great.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next month at our next webinar.
Thank you.